Nick speaking, and welcome to this live stream, another hobby hangout on the eve of the pre-order of 10th edition. And today I'm going to continue to paint my two Annihilation Barges, which I started painting last night. I've done the first layer, and today I'm going to try to get the second layer and third layer done on the silver, but we'll see how it goes. So we currently have a couple of people watching. Hello everyone. If you are able to comment, so let me know if the sound is okay. That would be really useful. We have the misadventures of Mr. Goatee. Hello there. He says happy Friday. Wah! Which I'm assuming means you can hear me. Hope everyone is okay, and what a hot day it is today. It's incredibly hot. It's going to be 30 degrees tomorrow as well, so even hotter in the UK, or at least on the south of the UK, which is where I'm based, literally on the south coast. You look out my balcony door there, and that's the south coast, so that's how close I am to the south of England. French Wargame holidays. Hello there. Good evening, Nick. Yes, all good. Cheers, Matt in France. My fiance is in France right now. She's in Cannes. At the moment, she's just posted a picture on Facebook of her with her snails. That's what she's been eating. Not for me, but she seems to really enjoy them. We have Total Life. Hello there. Your friend is now at 1K. Awesome. Brilliant. Yeah, so thanks for that. I'm wearing the, let's show you, the Frost and Fists t-shirt. I'm a big fan of those guys. They're awesome guys, and I know that I was fairly responsible for them actually having a channel at all, and I was their first subscriber, and it's really awesome to see them finally reach 1,000 subscribers. Thanks everyone who did sub them. Hopefully they'll get a few more subs as well. I've been sharing it on Facebook and obviously on my community tab, so yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you. 28 degrees here today. Very nice, very nice. 100 years Le Mans race tomorrow, looking like 30 plus. Wow, yeah, it's just really hot at the moment. Potentially there might be showers, I think, as well, so it's going to be interesting. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to crack on because I do want to paint. The whole idea of these live streams at the moment, whilst my fiance is in France, is to try and get these bad boys finished before 10th edition comes and I start working on some Tyranids for a little change. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. So we are on the second colour, which is a lead Boucher, and got my wet palettes here from yesterday. Let's just turn this tissue around. We will turn this around. Yesterday I was running over some of the 10th edition core rules as such. So what I did is I read all the rules, obviously like everyone else did, and I made a few notes on some changes or some highlights that I wanted to sort of keep a note of for easy reference, really, so I can just look back, and those are like the key changes that I want to try to remember effectively. Because it was a 60-page booklet, which quite a lot of pages. Right, let's get this shaken. Yeah, Frost and Face are great friends. So excited to see them hit 1K. They got me up to 100, then 200 subs. That's really nice. Yeah, losing Nick to the buyer. Yeah, not for long though, not for long. Yeah, they are awesome guys, and I went on one of their live streams once, which I had to get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning to go onto their show, but it was worth it. Those guys are awesome. Okay, so we are going to basically be dry brushing over the top of what I did yesterday. And the idea is I've got two already painted Annihilation Barges. I'm trying to match them obviously into these as well. Tea or coffee? 100% coffee. I do have some water with me as well, because I always get really thirsty when I'm talking. But yeah, nice fresh cup of Americano coffee. Right, okay, here we go. Let's do this. Now it took me an hour and a half to do the first coat on everything. The second coat usually is a bit quicker, but I've also got some other colours to do for the warriors, etc. So we'll just see how it goes. But yeah, lead belcher first. Second coat is just going to literally be dry brushing. Don't dry brush the one you've already painted, Nick, because I nearly did that. Put that in the box. I got to guest on their Orchid review, made my whole year awesome. Yeah, they're really, really cool guys. And if you don't know, I actually did them some models. There is an unboxing video on their channel, and there's a video on my channel where I did a model for them each. So for Frost, I did a Wolf Priest on a Thunder Wolf, converted it, painted it for Mythos, and then for Freak I did a Imperial Fist, and actually it was the Imperial Fist which I used for my Back to Basics series of videos. So I used the Back to Basic videos to basically sort of teach how to do a mini from start to finish, including freehand, and I sent it to Freak, and the freehand was a piano on the guy's shoulder pad, because Freak's into music. So yeah, that was fun to do. Freak was actually the person who inspired me to do that Back to Basics series, because they were just getting into the hobby at the time, and Freak was talking about how exactly do you remove mould lines. So me being me, I said, oh, I'll make a video on it, and I did, and I thought, actually this could make a really good series if I just sort of make videos on the whole process from start to finish. So that's how it all sort of came about, really. So I'm starting with this big brush, and I will move down to a smaller brush as and when I need to. Got 11 people in the stream. Thank you everyone for joining. If you haven't pressed the like button yet, I would really appreciate it. It just helps me out, and well, it's encouraging when you see likes on your videos. So what I'm doing is going over this second coat, and I'm going to compare it to my old one. Just make sure it looks very similar, which it does. Obviously these have been varnished, so they're going to look slightly different, but we know that once I varnish them up. I use a satin varnish for my Necrons. It's like half gloss, half matte. So I'm not painting the warriors themselves in this colour, however, just checking, but yeah, the mechanism that they're attached to is going to be painted in this colour. So let's just run over that section. Probably redo that with a smaller brush, I think. We'll be working on my barges next. Necrons. Cool beans. Yeah, they're nice minis, I like them. Wasn't too keen about drivers and the gunner at first, when I first got them, but that's grown on me. That's grown on me. Okay, so I've done the top. I think I'll go up and then round and down, and then do the back at the end. So as I said, we were talking about the 10th edition core changes, notes, etc. So I've got my sheet in front of me. I think we got just over halfway, just generally just having a chit chat about the sort of highlights that I made, just for something to talk about whilst we're painting. Obviously the Space Marine data cards came out today. I haven't looked at them. I did look at the comments on Facebook. Some people seem quite pleased, some people don't seem quite pleased. I've heard some people talking about the fact that mini marines are sort of still there and supported potentially, but not stern guard. Is that right? I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't really follow Space Marine stuff, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do is talk about the point we ended on, and even though I did talk about this yesterday, I'm going to talk about it again, so it's like a recap. And the first point, or the last point that we got to, was I have something to talk about. How about them Death Guard? They did my boys good, didn't they? Death Guard, yeah, I've only played Death Guard once, and that was not a good experience. I think I did 3 wounds in the whole game. Yeah. So yeah, infiltrators, or infiltrate was the rule that we talked about last time. So yeah, during deployment, you can deploy your unit with this ability no closer than 9 inches from the enemy, or from your enemy's deployment zone. And of course, according to the Games Workshop website, our flayed ones now have the infiltrate ability, which is awesome. Just like the old days. I mean, that's how I always played flayed ones, like with the 3rd edition codex. They weren't that great then. They were okay, but they weren't that great. But yeah, you could just infiltrate a small unit of 5 and just cause a sort of a problem for your opponent. It's like a little distraction as such. Now obviously we have no idea what rules flayed ones are going to have, what stats they're going to have, or indeed, more importantly maybe, what points cost they're going to be. Because flayed ones have been up and down like a yo-yo. They've literally been like right up to 21 points and right down to 10 points. Like, it's been ridiculous really over the years. However, if they're at the right points cost and they have some good abilities, and infiltrating flayed ones could be really good. And I'm personally hoping that this means I'm going to be able to get my 60 flayed one list on the table again, because that would be awesome. I have played it using the Army of Renown in 9th edition, but that was the only way really I could make it work. Until they came down in points. But yeah, in the old days I used to have 60 flayed ones, all infiltrating. Actually, I think they were deep striking. Yeah, deep striking with that 60 flayed one list. And then I had backed up by wraiths and scarabs. No troops. Wraiths, scarabs, flayed ones, and just all out attack. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So I'm hoping to do something with that this edition. Hopefully. Obviously I've got my metal flayed ones, 60 metal ones. I know that flayed ones are a bit of an issue for a lot of people trying to get hold of the models, and indeed when you get them, very difficult model to actually build. But luckily I don't have to worry about that because I have all my models already. The advantage of being a long time player. I am thinking that I do want to get some Tesla Immortals done because I've got them. They're already built. I just need to paint them. It's going to be hard painting them built probably, but I was given them and they were already built, so no choice. But I got a funny feeling Tesla Immortals might be quite good in 10th. We'll see. We'll see. So as I said, this is definitely coming along much quicker than the first coat, and looking much nicer than the first coat, as you would imagine, being the last coat. So let's have a quick look at this, just compare it. Yeah. pretty much the same. This is slightly more silver, which I think is down to the varnish, but also I have a feeling that this one was painted with the old Games Workshop colours. It probably would have been. I think I painted this, I'm thinking maybe about 10 years ago when the 5th edition Codex came out. So rather than Iron Breaker, it would have been painted with bolt gun metal, so it will be slightly different. But also what I've noticed, sometimes it looks different just to the fact that it's not finished. Like for example here I've got to do the black lines in between, and also the warriors are a different silver, and once the green goes on, and sometimes it just looks different because of that. But also the varnish definitely makes a difference. But it's close enough. It's close enough. Just going to do a little bit more at the front there, so I think it's not quite done. Okay, I'm going to go over with a small brush, but that's one done. So that was actually pretty quick. Get the other one out. Yeah, see now I put them in that box, a totally different light angle, and they look very similar. Would you speed paint the entire Leviathan? Can never say that. Box for me in one sitting this evening. I can't find any videos of anyone doing it. I don't know about one sitting, but I'm definitely going to speed paint them. I'm going to batch paint them, and my paint scheme's pretty simple. If you haven't seen my paint scheme, it's basically black. So I just prime them black. I don't highlight the black, it's just like a neutral black. It's basic, but it works. And then my highlights are around 4 layers of yellow, starting with like a snake bites leather layer, going right up to a bright like yellowy whitey colour. So primarily, once my models are primed, I'm about 70% painted. So I'm hoping to get the Tyranids done quite quickly. However, they're very different Tyranids. Looking at the models, I'm trying to think, how am I going to actually paint these in my scheme? So it's going to be interesting, but I will be batch painting them all in one go. But it's not going to be in one evening. It's going to be a little bit longer than that. Alright, some more paint. I'm going Warrior Horde this edition, probably a lot of Immortals as well. D3 Immortals coming back, and Night Return is nice. Monolith will be in every list as well. Yeah, I wonder how many points that Monolith is going to be this time. It'll be interesting. Right, let's get on with the next one. So, more dry brushing. And let's have a look what else we've got. So leaders, we pretty much know this, don't we? But basically can join the allocated units that it's sort of designated to, and once they join they become attached, so it's classed as an attached unit. And unlike sort of independent character rules like we've had in the past, where you can leave and join other units, you join a unit and that's it, you're there. Which I'm not sure how I'm liking that rule. We've got to see how it plays out. I really hope that all of our characters are a lot cheaper. It's almost like they're not really characters, they're just, well, leaders, aren't they? They're just like unit leaders more than like proper characters. So in that case they're going to have to be fairly cheap, because, well, if we die as quickly as we do currently in 9th edition, then our characters have not got open hell, have they? Because they're just going to be standing there like a lemon once the unit's taken out. And you can't do anything once your unit's dead. I hope we get some like good special rules for our characters. I think we need them. So I went round my mum's for dinner tonight. We had fish and chips. Bit of a tradition here on a Friday night. Fish and chips. I had a pea fritter and I had curry sauce. I don't always have curry sauce, but I fancied it tonight. So yeah, that was nice. I had a pensioners special because that's what my mum always gets. To be fair, it's pretty decent. It's small fish, chips, and then I said I had a pea fritter as well. To be fair, the pea fritter was probably just as big as the actual the actual fish, but it's plenty for me. I mean, I was full up, so. Trying to get this paint on this big section at the back here. It's a bit awkward shape. So you can see obviously above my camera there, of my face, I've got the charity raffle which I'm doing at the moment. If you haven't heard about it, you can win a Trarch Stalker and 3 Wraiths, all painted by Siege Studios. They're not the promoter of this raffle. They didn't know anything about it. Just happens that the models that I'm giving away has been painted by them. And yeah, just trying to raise some money for Mind. I've sold 48 tickets at the moment. It's about £240, which is good going. My aim, sort of little target that I set myself before I did the raffle, was maybe to sell 100 tickets, which would be about £500. So I thought that's a reasonable target. After reading The Infinite and the Divine, they should make a rule where Trazyn can bring a model from any army of your choosing. That would be pretty cool. I must admit, I haven't read that book yet. I know everyone says how good it is. I don't really get time to read. I probably should get an Audible download for it. But do you know what I mean? I never seem to have enough time. It's a busy life being a YouTuber, I can tell you now. Talking of that, I've got videos for next week in the system. I've got my last 9th edition battle report. I've got a short there ready to go, but that's it. And whilst we're getting the very nice index cards for Xenos, which I'm assuming is going to be with the Necron ones on the 15th, as I said yesterday, my fiancée is going to be coming back that weekend with the family because it's her birthday weekend, so I am not going to get time to record any videos. So I don't actually have any videos for the week after at the moment, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for that. Just going to have to see what happens, play it by ear. But obviously once 10th edition is released, I'm going to have lots of opportunities for content, but whilst we're in this sort of almost limbo land, I haven't really done much. Yeah. So I thought a hobby live stream would be pretty cool, and we can just have a little chat about some of the 10th edition stuff. So talking of which, what else have we got? Reserves. So native deep strikers. Where are we? Missed my notes. Yeah, native deep strikers can come in on turn 1 from what I can see. Although it may say no in the mission. So obviously normal reserves. Sorry, strategic reserves. If you put it in strategic reserve, you can come in on turn 2. But I'm not sure about native deep strikers at the moment, unless it literally just says they act as if they are in tactical reserve, which is probably the case. I can't see them coming in on turn 1, can you? Maybe I misread it, or just don't have all the information, but I'm still a bit unsure about first turn deep striking. I'm assuming no, but if you know different, yeah, let me know, because I've got a question mark by that one because I'm not 100% sure. Obviously I've got my tournament coming up in August. Been talking to a few of the guys today, trying to confirm numbers and stuff. Still got a few unknowns, whether they're coming or not, but we're currently up to 9 people coming for sure. And of course, pardon me, once 10th edition is out in our hands, Richard and I are going to sit down and try to sort it all out, what we're going to do. And we've got a good mixture of YouTubers coming. Obviously it's a YouTubers event, just like last year, but we've got, just try and remember everyone who is currently coming. Obviously there's myself, of course, there to defend my title. I'm going to try not to win it this time. Came second the first time, won it last year. I'm thinking I don't want to win it again. I can't win my own event 2 times in a row, so I'm going to probably just end up taking a silly list I can't win with, just have some fun. So yeah, there's me and obviously Richard from CM Wargaming, so that's 2. We then have Mr. Planet 40k himself, and his buddy, who's I believe running the Demon channel, Planet 40k Demons. So they'll be there. We have Mr. Voldemort's Guide to Warhammer, and then we have Kevin from the Hobby Corner. He's coming. And now this is where I need to try to remember everyone who's coming. We have Tom and Dom from Black Toad Studios, both of those guys coming. Tom came last time, but Dom couldn't make it, but he's coming this time. We have Bill from Warzone Morlock 40k, who again couldn't come last year, but is able to come this year, so that's cool to see Bill again. So yeah, we've got some cool guys coming. I haven't heard from a few people yet, so oh yeah, Aceface and Darren from Twisted Dice are potentially coming, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Right, I think that's that one done with this brush. Let's compare it. It's not far off. It's not far off. Right, so that's the 2 main barges. Now what I'm going to do is take all the bits out and put them in as I paint them. You probably can hear me very loud on the microphone. Right, I'm going to take all the bits out and then I'm going to put them back as I paint them. And that way I won't miss anything. Okay. Let's have a drink. Why does it say number 6 there? Sorry, I've got number 6 in my chat for some reason. Oh yes, of course. There's my table down button. Right, let's get some more of these. I'm using OBS. I've allocated some like hotkeys, and when I went live I pressed number 6, which also come up in the chat box, which is why I can't really chat, like type chat, because if I hit some of those hotkeys it changes the OBS view, which is a bit annoying, potentially embarrassing. Alright, let's get some more paint on here. If it's slightly noisier today than it was yesterday, it's because I've got the fan on down here, on my legs basically, because it is pretty warm. Right, big brush on these bits, and then we'll move to the smaller brush. So where did we get up to? Reserves, yeah. No one's made a comment on that, so we'll see how that goes. But so yes, strategic reserves. No more than 25% of points in strategic reserves. You still have 2 little bits in the box. Oh yeah, no, that's from the original models. Yeah, those. Yeah, that's the guns for those. So I can see how I painted them. I assume that's what you've seen. I was thinking something similar. Thought I was thinking a 200 or so point battle line unit. So yeah, only 25% of your army in points in reserve, in strategic reserve. So that's stuff that you put into strategic reserve, not necessarily native reserves, I think. Again, I'm a bit unsure about this. But yeah, from turn 2 onwards, but it can be later now. So not just turn 2 and 3, you can come in 4 or 5 if you want to. It's interesting. Turn 2, it's 9 inches of enemy and 6 inches of the table edge, but not the enemy deployment zone. And then turn 3 onwards, 9 inches away from your enemy and 6 inches of the table edge. So yeah, definitely a few changes there, but I'm still not 100% clear on some of that at the moment. Sometimes you just need to like have a little chat with somebody else who's been reading the rules as well. I mean, it's Games Workshop, isn't it? Even they're really basically written like simplified rules, sometimes still bring up lots of questions, which is really odd, because you would have thought they would have like the knowledge there for other people to say, oh, but what about this, you know? Hello, got lots of magnets all on the pieces. Good evening, Richard. I'm just settling it in with cheese toasted with Worcestershire sauce and pepper, enjoying my favourite YouTuber. Thank you, Richard. Oh, Worcestershire sauce. I've not had that for ages. I do like that, actually. It's a nice flavour. To get me some, I think. To get me some. I might be able to laugh my... I just painted a load of models in a week. I know you did. I know you did, mate. That's using the contrast paint, alright? Make me feel mega slow. Funny enough, I haven't touched contrast paint at all, but I haven't really had a need to, so I'm painting all my armies with my old paint scheme, so it's like, well, I don't really need a different paint. So yeah, we're just doing the second coat of the silver this time. and we're using lead belcher, previously known as gunbolt metal. So I think probably I might just go over with this big brush on some of these bits and then move to the small brush. Contrast is my best friend. Yeah, I mean contrast, you know, no disrespect to you, Rich, but contrast is like perfect for you. You know, it makes your painting simple and easy and quick, and it's like ideal for you. Okay, so let's have a look. So next, cover saves. So yeah, you get +1 to save, but it's no better than a 3+ against AP0 weapons, which I think that's good. I think that's good. Having a 3+ save is pretty decent. Is there any real need to have a 2+ save when you're in cover? Probably not really. But it's obviously going to be useful if you've got weapons coming with a good AP. So, I mean, that makes total sense to me. Especially, obviously, with how terrain is working as well. I think you're going to be getting more cover saves. I do have my phone on, I'm afraid, guys, just in case anything important happens. But it does mean I'll be getting those notifications keep coming through. That's just Facebook one. Probably people commenting that Frost and Fists have hit 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations, Frost and Fists. You are probably not watching. What time is it in America? I have no idea. What is it? 6 hours behind. 6 hours behind. 5 or 6 hours behind. So, well, could be there. Yeah, this big brush is working quite well on these pieces. I said I'll just go in with a small brush at the end and just touch up. The Armour Painter and Vallejo alternatives just as good. Yeah, done, dusted and right on to the table, battle ready. My hands and eyes do not allow for taking time and fine detail any longer. Congrats, those guys are awesome. I agree. Yeah, it's really chuffed. When I'm not sure why I checked out their channel. Why did I check out their channel? I have no idea. Anyway, I was looking at their channel for some reason earlier today, and yeah, it came up 30 subs to 1k. I thought, wow, got to get them up to 1k if I can. So I'm pleased that I managed to do it. So yeah, next we're sort of on the terrain bits at the moment, but craters, cover save for infantry if wholly on top. So only infantry, but yeah, craters potentially back, which is good. I've got loads of sort of crater type terrain, which I haven't used for ages, so that would be really nice to get that on the table again. It's coming along nicely. As I said, the second coat is much quicker than the first coat, so that's good. And tomorrow night I am out. I've got work, and then in the evening going around my eldest daughter's house. Going to have a takeaway and a catch up, so that'd be nice. So probably won't be doing any hobby tomorrow night, depending on what time I get back. If I do, I may go live again as well. It'd be pretty cool to just paint these live. And then it's Sunday, which I have work, but I usually paint on Sunday morning because I don't leave for work until about 9:30 in the morning. So I normally do, well, from 7:30 to 9:30, a couple of hours of painting or hobby on a Sunday morning. Potentially I might go live on a Sunday morning really early, because I mean it might help me reach out to some of the other countries that, you know, aren't able to catch these sort of evening live streams that I do, because obviously all my subs are from all over the world. So yeah, might be an opportunity for some people that can't normally join me live to join. We'll see how it goes. Have you heard of Dark Star? They have some paint ranges. I've not heard of them, no. Molten metal gemstones and washers. And Colourforge. Heard of Colourforge? What is my day job? I am a retail manager. That is my day job, which I have been doing since I left school, which was 1988. See, I've been in the same job since I was 16. I'm just going to continue with this big brush because it's going quite well. I'll bring the leaflets along Saturday and pop them into you after I finish having some cake and demos in store. Yeah, thanks Rich. And I will need to take a copy of the receipt as well. Not because I don't trust you, but I'm going to put it obviously on the expenses for the channel, so I can class it as expenses. So yeah, I need a copy of the receipt. Just take a photocopy of it, will be fine, or scan it. I'm not sure, Lee might just give you 2 separate receipts rather than putting it on one. Right. There it is, thought I'd lost it. Barricades and pipes. So you get a cover save again for infantry, which are wholly within 3 inches of it and not fully visible. We talked about visible and fully visible yesterday. So yeah, we've got barricades and pipes, and that's going to be pretty cool. In the old days, used to always use barricades, staple piece of terrain. Yeah, I'll give you the receipt anyway because you'll be able to pick up on 24th for me. Yes, I will. Well, I think I have the day off. 24th. Yeah, I have the 24th off, so I could pick them up and then come round to yours. And then I'm working on the Sunday. And then I have, excuse me. Then I have the Monday off, I think, and the plan is to make some videos. You don't finish till 2 on the 24th, okay. Well, we'll sort something out. Right, I need more paint. Sun has gone. Should get a bit cooler now. It's weird because this apartment in the mornings it can be quite cold. So we'll leave that big window open overnight because there's a balcony there. You just can't get there, so it's safe. And then when you wake up in the morning, you come into this room, it's like freezing because obviously there's no sun at all until the afternoon, but then when the sun hits, it's like, whoa, that is warm. Or I'll come to you. Yeah, definitely an option. Once the silver's done, then it's obviously just a case of doing the green and a bit of gold here and there. Obviously the green is a bit more in depth as such. No, it's not going to be dry brushing, it's going to be several layers. We've got a bit of wet blending to do as well. Definitely going to go over all of this with a small brush though, just to finish it off. I'll have to think about the stomper. Yes, stomper. As if the kill rig wasn't enough. So yeah, debris and statuary, basically obstacles. You can't go on top of the obstacles, so if I had my little obelisk type pieces, they're obstacles, you can't go on the top. And the whole unit has to see, otherwise you get cover saves, which was quite interesting. So the whole firing unit has to be able to see, otherwise you do get cover save. I do think that cover saves are definitely going to be more prominent, which is I think why they did that 3+ save thing. But I'm looking forward to getting some of my older terrain out, because I think it's going to work better now in 10th edition. You don't have to have everything, like just a big building basically, which is nice, but it can get a bit, not boring, but let's say samey. It can be a bit samey. Right, I'm getting to the stage where I think I'll probably have to get a small brush out. Just going to do these bigger bits here. This is going on really nicely though. I struggled yesterday for some reason. I think it was just, it could have been just the fact that where I haven't painted for a little while. You do lose your motor skills a bit if you don't continuously paint, so maybe that was it. Just nothing seemed to be going on very well. But today everything's going on nicely. You'll be able to see and shoot the stomper at least. Yeah, we'll have to change the train up as much as we can, as well as armies. Yeah, I think so. It makes the battle reports look different, and even just like the gaming maps, you know, can make a big difference. You see the same one all the time, but if you can change them up, then it's quite good. Then we have hills, which are also cast containers into this category. So yeah, hills, containers, etc. The whole unit has to see, otherwise cover save. So it's the same thing basically. So you've got a hill in the way and a couple of models are hidden from the firer, and you'll get a cover save. The new terrain rules don't seem that bad, but they actually seem fairly good. But obviously you don't really know until you actually play them. So we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so the warriors will be a different colour. So put those aside, and that warrior arm there. and then we definitely need to move to a smaller brush. So let's just clean this one up a bit. Could be brave, no terrain, just desert, and see who survives the longest. Yeah, I've played that before actually. We played a low, I think it was a low gravity or high gravity, I can't remember now. I think we rolled randomly for it. This is my Blood Angels buddy. So we played no terrain, and we rolled to see what the gravity was going to be. Just for fun. I love those type of games. You just roll for, roll for fun. Right, I do give my brushes a proper soapy wash after I've finished painting, but for now that will do. I didn't see any, but do you have videos painting terrain? I'm working through some from the Imperial magazine. I do have some terrain painting videos, yes. It's on the TT Combats pylons that I've got. However, I paint them basically exactly the same as what I'm doing now with these Annihilation Barges. Pretty much just dry brushing. I do have a video on the terrain which I did for the tournaments last year, the Orc terrain, which Richard let me get my hands on to spruce them up a bit. So they were half painted. So there is a video in there in the archives. Probably if you just type IDICBeer terrain, probably come up. Woods. Models are never fully visible if wholly within the terrain stroke you get cover saves. So woods, pretty much like area terrain used to be, similar anyway in the old days, but yeah, woods. I do have some wood things, pieces. I use sometimes my, well, they're actually objective markers, but sometimes I use them like a Necron forest. So at least we've got the rules for that now. And that's actually the last thing on that side of the paper, so we need to turn the paper over. From what I can tell, tomorrow's pre-order is literally going to be the box set. I don't think there's going to be anything else, like index cards or anything. I think they're going to be coming after, and I don't know. I remember in 9th edition there were some like extra bits and pieces, weren't there? Like dice and things. They might surprise us, like measuring, little measuring sticks and things. We might get that, just they haven't said anything about it yet. Now I need to check these guns. So, right, the Gauss. Okay, so I do actually have these side pieces here painted. Try not to be too messy because I'm going to have to black them over at the end anyway. And I know I didn't do the base coat on these pieces, but it's okay. They're so small you won't really be able to tell. Yeah, so I am excited. Excited. 10th edition. I think one of the key things for me was to get the the tournament sorted. So once I've got all the rules, that's what I want to do, like organise the tournaments, the rules pack and the missions that we're going to play, etc. And get that done really, sent out. Because that's sort of something which is hanging over me a little bit with the 10th edition. I'm not quite sure what's going on, how I'm going to organise it, etc. Right, that's the guns done. Now this front piece. It's just Richard telling the guys about my terrain videos that I did. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll paint these two little bits and I'll turn the piece of paper over. If you've just tuned in, then welcome to the stream. My name is Nick. If you've not come to the channel before, as a Warhammer 40k channel, my main army is Necrons on the channel, but I do cover some other armies as well, hence the name Necrons and more. And yeah, just here at the moment doing a bit of hobby, having a chat about the new 10th edition coming, well, pre-order tomorrow. So that's what we're currently doing. Right, what do I need? Oh yes, turn this over. These are my notes. We're on the last page, it's only half a page, so not too much more to talk about on that. I'm going to work backwards, I think. Continue on the smaller stuff and then go back to the big stuff. This is all coming along quite nicely now. It's a pretty easy paint scheme, to be fair, so can't really go wrong. Want to make sure that I match it in to my originals. Just that. I'll just push those forward and then I can wiggle them around. How are we doing? We've got 13 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate that, you know, like a little hobby live stream isn't going to appeal to a huge audience, but that's okay. I enjoy chatting, I enjoy hobbying, so why not combine the two? It's the points I'm wanting to get my hands on that will make things make sense. Yeah, the points are coming, aren't they, at some point before 10th edition actually drops, right? According to the rumours. Cool. Is it worth buying a 9th edition codex? only if you want it as a collector. Basically, that's the only reason you'd want to buy it. Literally 10th edition is, well, the 24th. So literally it's 2 weeks, 1 day, and we'll all be playing 10th edition. And the 9th edition codex will basically be defunct as soon as that happens. We're going to have index Necrons until we get the new Necron codex, which is coming out around September. And then that will be it. Then we'll just get updates like on data slates and stuff, points adjustments over time, but no more codices until, well, what would be 11th edition, I suppose. I kind of want to buy one, but not at market price. Maybe people sell used copies. Oh, they will. Yeah, you will be able to get second-hand ones. Back in 2nd edition, I used rice as a terrain feature. Used it to make spiky clumps of crystals. Would epoxy together. Never had the resources, and the internet wasn't back then. Yes. Absolutely, it's anything you can get your hands on can make pieces of terrain. Just need a bit of imagination. I love building terrain. I've stopped building terrain because I have no more storage space for it. But I actually really enjoy making terrain. It's a lot of fun. Especially Necron terrains, like all the buildings and the aesthetics. I do really like it, but I've had to stop. I had to get rid of that massive Necron bridge that I made when I moved house, which was a shame, but I just couldn't store it. I've got some Cities of Death terrain, which is around my buddy's house at the moment, which I don't have access to because it's in his loft, so yeah, that's not like an easy thing to get to. The best is roof shingles. If anyone is replacing their shinglets, you can use those for urban terrain. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, polystyrene was a great resource, plus terrain items were super light. Yeah, I made a lot of my Necron buildings from the styrofoam, like 5mm one, cardboard. I can't remember what it's called now. Basically cardboard with styrofoam in the middle. And my original Necron terrain, which you don't really see now because hasn't been that playable in 9th edition, but all of my terrain was based around the Necron Codex, the 3rd edition Codex. I mean, that was my inspiration. There was no internet. There was White Dwarf and the codices. That was your inspiration. So that's where lots of my terrain sort of ideas, etc., come from. Right, that's looking good. Time to dust it off. Well, we'll see how much storage space you have, Rich, at your new place. Potentially I could get my Cities of Death buildings for my buddy and Might make some cool pieces of terrain. Gonna need some paint. I'll just do this piece, then I'll get some more paint, I think. Plastic card too, so easy to work. One of the best things on making vehicles, buildings and so forth. Yeah, plastic cards are made Dark Elder, what's it called? I can never remember the names. There's the Ravager and Ravener, isn't it? The one with the old school model, not new one. The one with the side struts on the side. So that was the heavy support one. And I used plastic card for that, and what I did is I put them in the oven so that they curled up. I've got a video on it, but yeah, I put them in the oven so they curled up to give me that curling shape. You know, glued them together and then put them on the side, so I had like these curled side pieces. I tried to make them look like the original as much as I could, and I have to be honest, I was incredibly pleased with them. They came out really well. But yeah, I've got a video on that. It's called How to Strip and Repair Broken Miniatures, I think it's called, or How to Strip Miniatures, something like that. In the old days, I didn't know anything about SEO, keyword research and all that, so I had some dodgy titles on my videos. I do occasionally go back into some popular ones and redo the metadata, but I've got like 2,600 videos, so it's impossible to do it for them all. Right, that's that one. Let's get some more paint. I started just collecting scrap junk bits like nuts and bolts, metal garbage on the ground around the garage. Yeah, perfect. One of my pieces of terrain is from the bin. I was getting the bus one day, and I was at the bus stop, and there was this bin, and there was this. It was like a sweet box, effectively, a candy box. And I looked at it, I thought that would make a really cool Necron generator. So I sort of like sneakily put my hand in, quickly put it in my bag, took it home, and yeah, it's in my piece of terrain to this day, and it looks really cool. Trash terrain, as they call it. That's half the fun though, isn't it? Sometimes it's about being creative, and whilst we all have different varying sort of degrees of creativity, I'm not the most creative person, but I'm okay. But yeah, it's just fun, isn't it? Just like, what can I do with this, you know? I've always liked my art, but I was never like the best at it, like at school and stuff. I always say this, but one thing I learned early in life is that there's always, no matter how good you are, there's always someone better. It's like I did pottery classes and woodwork classes at school. I made some really cool things. You know, I made this table, like joined two pieces of wood together to make the top, and like sanded it all down and curved it round. So proud of this table that I made. And then I find out that my classmate has made a table with a chessboard in the top and drawers for the chess piece. Yeah, I remember that. The same with the pottery classes. We had like this project, and we could choose and from a list of like 6 things. And the same guy who did this chess table, we were in the same pottery class. We chose the same thing to make. Basically, it was a hand. You had to make a hand holding body parts, which I know sounds a bit weird, right? But yeah, we both did exactly the same. And his hand looks like a real hand. It was like so good. My hand was okay, but his hand looks so much better. So yeah, I always remember saying to myself that, well, it doesn't matter how good you are, there's always someone better. And you just have to accept that. You know, you've got your limits, and as long as you do your best, try your best, and more importantly, as long as you're happy with what you've done, then that's the main thing. You know, and then if people criticise, they criticise. You know, that's the way it is, as long as you're happy. Does Nick or anyone in the chat have Warhammer TV? Oh yeah, Richard has it. That codex got me super interested in scratch terrain. I made a bunch of Necron crystals from foam. The first thing I made was those Necron crystals from that book. GW still do make custom terrain for picks, but sadly the creation process isn't filmed or shown. Yeah, absolutely. Cool thing about rusty metal scrap bits is you don't need to paint them. I saw the Necron episode of Hammer and Bolter, I liked it. Cool. All my old stuff is attic bound. I probably invented Necrons as entered a diorama into the painting contest, which was orcs fighting plastic skeleton models. I had painted silver like T800, so well, there you go. You're the reason, Richard. Yeah, that was fun, but Necrons are getting their own show. There is a trailer for it on the site. Interesting. Yeah, I don't have Warhammer Plus. Obviously, they've got this new app coming, haven't they? I'm assuming it's not going to be free. This new app, so probably won't get it. I do use Battlescribe a bit, but only recently. I've always been a sort of pen and paper guy, or a Word document guy now. But yeah, we'll see how this app goes. And obviously the other app had quite a few mistakes in it, so just see how it goes. But this one's being rebuilt from the ground, apparently. Let's get these bits out here. I'm still drinking my coffee. It is cold, but that's okay. I'm used to drinking cold coffee. I'm going to buy some night haunts so I can use a skull head and cowl on my overlord. That'd be cool. Right, so ruins. Got some notes for ruins. So you've got plunging fire. Which basically is +1 AP if you're in a building over 6 inches and the enemy is on the ground. You get +1 AP, interesting rule. Infantry and beasts can move through the walls, etc. Infantry, beasts and fly can go on any level, but the base must not be overhanging. The ruins are obscuring except for aircraft and towering, which of course we know the monolith is towering. Normal rules apply, so I'm assuming by that they mean you still have to see them. So if you have a big building and you've got the monolith and it's behind it and you physically can't see it, even though it's towering, you can't shoot it. That's how I'm reading that rule. I need some more paint. I'm only putting a little bit of paint on at a time because I don't want to put too much on in case I end up not needing it. Don't like to waste paint if I can help it. So aircraft I've got next, and aircraft have changed a little bit. This is interesting. Gonna need some more paint. So aircraft now have to move straight first, so there's no pivot. You move straight and then you pivot, and you have to move at least 20 inches, but there's no maximum measurement, so you can move as far as you like as long as you move 20 inches, and you have to move in a straight line first, and when you stop moving you can then rotate if you want to. So quite interesting movement rules there. Yeah, no limit on movement I've written down, but if you can't move then you go into strategic reserves. No base can overhang the board edge, so nothing about wing tips and things, it's just the base. Unless you have fly, you ignore aircraft for pile-in and consolidation moves. That's my notes on aircraft. Colour shift only works on certain primers. Not used colour shift paint again because I've not really had a need to, because I'm only ever painting armies which I already have a fixed paint scheme for. Occasionally I'll do like a commission work where I paint something a bit different, but yeah, on the whole I don't tend to. I've done a few commissions over the years, not like loads. I'm not a commission painter, but you know, I've had a few requests. I've had a conversion commission as well. I painted some orc characters up for Richard. Did Games Workshop stop making boarding patrol for Necrons? I couldn't tell you, to be honest, because I don't really know anything about boarding actions. Not really had an interest in them. Right, now I think this gun is okay. I'm just going to check it. Ah, that's all black there, so I had no need to dry brush it. Oh well, that's okay, because I'll just paint it black afterwards. Seems about the same. Let's check this one. Coming along nicely. Yeah, well, everything's gone up in price, hasn't it? I paid £10 for my Necron Codex, and now they're at like £30 for a Codex. Sadly, everything's going up though, isn't it? It's not just what we do, the hobby, so everything in life is just so expensive now. Hover. Lasts the whole game if selected. So effectively you can have an aircraft, put it into hover mode, and it's no longer an aircraft effectively, it's just like a normal unit. As far as I could tell from the comments on Facebook that I saw, the Storm Raven doesn't have a hover mode. Is that correct? Rich, you might be able to tell me. But yeah, someone was commenting about the Storm Raven not having hover. I don't know how true that is. So I'm just doing the little chairs now that the warriors are sitting in. The warriors will be a different colour because of my age-old paint scheme that I did many years ago. The second edition box was £40 when I wanted it. That would be £99 in today's money. Yeah. I remember when crisps used to be 10p a packet. 10p a packet. That was a long time ago. When I was a kid. It's true, you turn into your dad. Half of this you're not going to actually be able to see because it's underneath, but still I'd like to have it painted. Just going into the nooks and crannies really of these bits here, just to make sure everything's all painted to the same level. Looks pretty good, to be fair. It's just a few bits and pieces here and there. Right, just in there. Let's check that one. Oh yeah, it does look exactly the same. That's good. I remember 10p mix-ups and you could get 10 sweets in the bag. Yeah, penny a sweet, I remember that. Funny how inflation just hurts the consumer, but big companies' profits always go up. Yep. There's some things I've just stopped buying because of the price. I used to really love brie cheese. Used to buy just like a triangle of brie. I never went for the expensive brand. I only ever went for like Tesco's own. Other supermarkets are available. And used to buy like a wedge for £1.19. Used to be when I used to buy it. And then it went up. £1.29, £1.39, £1.69. Now it's over £2, and that's the cheap one. And the expensive ones, which used to be like £3.50, are now God knows what. I've stopped buying it. I don't buy brie no more. Probably good for my waistline. Yeah, everything's just going up and up and up. Right. So we've got character enhancements. No more than 3 in an army, and all have to be different. So you can have 3 enhancements, but they all have to be different, which basically means there's definitely not going to be double, like Veil of Darkness or anything like that. which makes sense. I do remember when Veil of Darkness was once per turn rather than once per game. That was good, just being able to teleport around the board all the time. Necrons used to be able to like move really well in the old days, not like they are now. I mean, yeah, we got some fast units, but you know, warriors only moving 5 inches and stuff. No Space Marine flyer has hover in index cards. Well, there you go. So I wonder what is going to have hover. Maybe the Eldar ones or something. Gonna need some more paint. Oh, that might be too much, but we'll see. That's okay. So next is Epic Heroes. Previously called named characters. They can't take enhancements, which I think we knew that anyway, but it's like confirmed. So yeah, if you've got an epic character, you just get the war gear that it comes with effectively. Can't take any extra enhancements. Now I'm coming to the end of my list of notes. Got a couple more things there. I went for orcs originally because I believed each miniature could be an individual. Disliked having to paint all units exactly the same colour scheme. That's fair play. That's one reason why I really enjoyed my Eldar army, because you had the aspect warriors and you had different, well, you could paint all the aspect warriors the same as your craft world, but I didn't, and the reason I did that is to paint different colours and also to challenge myself, because you know, until my Eldar really I was just dry brushing, and then when I got my Eldar army, that's when I sort of upped my game and my painting skills, because I had different type of units to paint. Painting the not striking scorpions, because I haven't painted them yet, still got to do that. But painted my howling banshees, my fire dragons, my swooping hawks, really nice, and different colours to how I actually painted my craft world, which was purple and white with yellow gemstones and blue energy. I still used purple to sort of match them into the army. So my swooping hawks, for example, I think they've got this like tabards that come down. I painted the tabards purple, so I've still sort of got that purple into the army. But yeah, that was what I really enjoyed about the Eldar painting wise. And of course that Forge World avatar model, of course now GW have got their new avatar, but I've got the Forge World one. What an awesome mini that is. That really pushed my painting skills to the limit, but it's the model that after I painted it, I felt like I could paint anything. Starting to look good. These are basically warlord traits and relics mixed. Yeah. So it makes sense. They're just character upgrades. Just simplified, but not simple. Mike says, my aspects matched my craft world, but had details of 2 in their shrine colours. Yeah, fair play. I just felt you know, one reason why I went for that Eldar army was because of the painting side. You know, I really wanted to challenge myself with the painting. I wanted to move on from just dry brushing, and they were a perfect army to do that. Right, I don't think it's going to get much better than that. Yay. Right, okay, I think that is that layer done. I'm going to try and finish the silver tonight though, so I'm going to move on to the next colour, which is Runefang Steel, which is not that one because that's Ironbreaker. So let me try and get this one out. Runefang Steel. Okay, that one. This is going to need a good shake, this one. That's going to need a good mix as well. Objectives. So you can't end the move on top of an objective now. Objectives can be in terrain features, so you can put them on a terrain piece as long as they can stand up. Add OC together for each model in range of the objective. I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work, but yeah, basically if you've got OC3 on a unit and then you've got 3 models in range of the objective, and effectively your OC range is 3 times 3. So then you see what your opponent has on the objective, and then the one with the most score is holding it. So I wasn't 100% sure how that was going to work, but that sort of clarifies that. Will be interesting. Yeah, it had an ability in 9th to hover, but didn't have the hover keyword. Yeah, I always remember my Blood Angels buddy had a Storm Raven. You used to be able to select like each one. I think even this didn't. Wasn't there like a skimmer? There was a skimmer rule, wasn't there? I'm trying to think now. Such a long time ago. So many rules. So many rules. Might be my age. I started using Vortex Shaker. I want to get one. I want to get one. Right, so we are basically painting the warriors. So let's start here because they're almost all in the vehicle. I'm just going to continue using the same brush, which will sort of gradually get into the bristles, and the old colour won't make any difference. I'm just going to dry brush them silver. Or Runefang Steel. Used to be Mithril Silver, this colour, in the old days. Pardon me. That's those fish and chips coming back. I don't know what takeaway we're having tomorrow. Probably Chinese, I would have thought. Might be Indian. I like Indian. I like spicy food. So the reason why I do a different colour for the warriors is all of my infantry are painted this way. So I have like the brighter silver for the infantry and then the darker silver for the vehicles. Don't know why I did that, but I just did it when I first started painting. I think I just wanted to have like a difference, and it's quite subtle, but it does make a difference. So for example, on my Locust, like heavy destroyers, the body section is the iron breaker, the lead belcher, and then the body at the top is Methril silver. Slightly harder because they're glued in already. I'm glad I'm not painting anything too delicate, because it's quite hard talking and painting actually. You don't realise it. Interesting, Richard. In the old days you could paint up some minis, go into your Games Workshop store and barter for unpainted stock. You usually got a decent deal. Do not know if this still goes on or not. I don't think that goes on. Early Eldar had the D cannon. I heard these are not used anymore. Is that true? I think the D cannon was in there the last time I played them. Maybe probably in a different connotation, but I do remember D cannons being there. Not as in D weapons. D weapons are slightly different maybe now to what you were thinking, but the actual weapon themselves are there. It's more, I think, mortal wounds now. Been a long time since I did anything Eldar, to be fair. Right, I think those are looking about right. Probably could do with a little bit more. It's always best to build the colour up than just go straight in really heavy with the paint, because it's harder to take it off than it is to put more on. Yeah, that's looking good. That's it. Right, that's one. Now the other one only has the legs in and the rest are all separate. Hated D cannons, they were lethal. Yeah, Eldar had some nasty weapons, didn't they? Orcs were so cheap, we had a battle and I had about a third of the table covered in orc boys, just swarming everything. I remember playing, I was playing Tyranids and my buddy was playing orcs, and on that particular day we both turned up with a horde army. We had like 100 models each, I think it was. It's just crazy, so many models on the table. It just happened that we both thought, yeah, let's play a horde list today. basics done. So I've got one more thing on my list regarding the 10th edition core rules. That is missions. So yeah, both roll off. Winner is the attacker with the predetermined deployment zone. So you roll off, so the deployment zones are there, attacker, defender, you roll off, and the winner is the attacker, and that's their deployment zone, no choice. Then the attacker deploys first, then you take it in turns to deploy, of course, and then you roll for first turn. So quite interesting there, a bit different. And that's all my notes. As I said, I did the other half of the notes in the live stream yesterday. We talked about the other half, but don't think I've missed too much of the changes. Right, I think that is there. Yeah, they look good. Now do these ones, and we'll do his arm because there's only one arm here. I'm going to need some more paint. Hoping things will go that way. What, really cheap orcs? It's going to be interesting. Historically, with a new edition, Games Workshop make everything really expensive points wise. Like everything goes up a mega amounts. And I think they did this because their plan was to sell you the book every 6 months with the points reductions in. However, now they're giving points for free. So I'm hoping this time, if that was the plan, which it seemed like it was previously, I'm hoping that this time the points will be a bit more accurate. Let's say, yeah. It's going to be interesting, the points. That makes a massive difference, doesn't it? I mean, obviously rules make a big difference, but rules matched with the points is what you really need. Because amazing rules, but if they're really expensive in points, it's like, it's good, but, you know, not auto-include. We don't want auto-include stuff. In an ideal world, we want everything to be playable and decent. We know it's never going to be that way. It's never going to be that perfect. But there's nothing worse than having a really cool miniature and the rules are really bad and you just don't really want to play it. So I briefly talked about the keywords as well yesterday, because obviously they were not published, but Games Workshop basically updated the website, putting the units into keyword sort of order, but there was definitely some discrepancies. Having the Tesseract Vault as infantry, I'm sure is not right. But there were some interesting ones, obviously the Tomb Blades with the Scout ability, pre-game move, and I'm thinking that with potentially Tesla, where we can advance and shoot without any hindrance of ballistic skill, could be pretty good. And then of course infiltration for the flayed ones. I wonder what they're going to do with the Hexmark Destroyer. There's so many units, you think, oh, what are they going to do with it? You know, the Reanimator. I think the Doomstalker might become a Stalker, which could be useful. So yeah, what are you going to do with this model? What are you going to do with that model? Interesting to see how they handle Scarabs and spiders. and Wraiths even, because Wraiths have had a few good makeovers over the years. I think 3+ invulnerable saves are back though, aren't they? Because I'm sure there is a unit which has a 3+ invulnerable save, which obviously they took out in 9th edition. So that's when Wraiths lost their 3+ invuln. Because everything lost their 3+ invuln. I'm hoping maybe we might get that back, but I doubt it, but you never know. Vault should be a vehicle, I would think, not infantry. I would definitely guess that, yeah. Yeah, I definitely would guess that. I'm assuming that it's just a human error. Probably the people who control the website don't really know what's what. They probably don't even know the rules, probably don't even play 40k. They're probably just IT people, aren't they? And I haven't looked. I mean, maybe they've corrected that, because I'm sure they would have seen all the comments from people. I might have a look in a minute, see if they've corrected it. Okay, so that's that. Now what I'm going to do is get some more Runefang steel, just to drop, and I'm going to get my big brush again. And what I'm going to do is go over the vehicles, almost like just an edge highlight, just very light. So I'm just going to go over some of the edges with this, just to help give just a little bit more of a, well, edge highlight. Not much paint on these, not really changing the colour, just making the edges pop a bit. You'll probably find now they look very similar now. I think sometimes it's just the light. Yeah, well, they're similar. It's that varnish that's on there as well, makes the paint look different colour. Hi people, it's Necrons. Hello Peter! I did see your comment just as I closed the stream down yesterday, saying I could only just make the stream, and then the stream ended, so sorry about that. But I did see your comment. So yeah, nice to see you here. How are you? Okay, that's that. I don't really need to do it on the small bits, I'll just do it on the guns. There you go. Right, now I'm going to go back with a lead belcher. I'm going to finish up the warriors with a little wet dry brush. I know it sounds weird, but yeah, wet dry brush. It's basically a dry brush with a little bit more paint on. and I need a smaller brush. I'm just going to do this little dry brush on the bigger sections of the warriors, just to make them look a little bit more oily. Again, this is something I did when I first started painting, when I knew nothing about painting, so this might be a really odd thing to do, but it works, and more importantly it matches my armies together, so that's how I do it. I'm always late for the good stuff. Looks like a 10th prep. Do you know anything we don't, Nick? No, I don't. To be fair, I'm just painting a few vehicles. Though the truth is, I painted my Doomsday arcs, Ghost arcs, in preparation for playing 10th, because it seemed like vehicles were going to be good. And then in my box, which holds 2 Doomsday arcs, is enough room for 2 Annihilation Barges, and I happen to have 2 Annihilation Barges not built and painted, so I thought I would do them to finish up the box effectively. So that's the reason I'm doing these. I don't know any secrets. But as I was saying earlier, I got a funny feeling assault weapons on Tomb Blades and maybe Tesla Immortals could be quite good with the new ability of being able to advance and shoot normally. So maybe. I've nearly finished the silver. It's exciting. What time is it then? So it's 10:30. That's funny. This has taken longer than it took me yesterday, even though it's quicker. But then I've been doing extra coats, haven't I? So effectively I've done 2 coats this time, whereas yesterday I only did 1 coat. Looking forward to playing my first game of 10th. I'd imagine Richard and I will play a 1,000-point game to start with. Obviously be doing battle reports. And I am almost done with this colour anyway. Yep. Mission accomplished. I finished painting the silver. Yay! So next I will be painting the green. I do have to go into the silver, like into the recesses, and paint some black, but that's simple enough. But yeah, next task I'm going to paint the green, and I think I will do that in another live session. So hopefully you will join me for that. It would either be tomorrow night, depending on when I get home from my daughter's house. Failing that, it might be a nice early one on Sunday morning, stroke, if not, or as well, Sunday evening. So I might go live twice on Sunday. What a treat. I need to think of some things to talk about. I think that's it for me. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the stream. I know I have, and I've achieved a lot, so I'm happy. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.